All right, a quick straw poll again. How many of you would like to make more in the future than you do today? Me too. And no matter what you do, you're going to have to pass through a certain doorway if what you're hoping to do is access the steps to success. And that doorway is you're going to have to learn. Oh, I know, you already got your education. And that's part of the problem, is people think that because they got their education, they're done learning. I get it. You're not alone. All you have to do is look in that rearview mirror of expectations for how things have always been done. And what it would tell you is if you just went and got that degree, you could earn your way to success throughout your entire career. Except that now that's not working out so well. People are getting that degree and they're finding they're not sure how to reach that success point they're looking for. So how do we get this back into a success model? Well, the first thing I want to do is let's inspect these expectations. Maybe they're not appropriate anymore. And now let's look at NēXTpectations. And what are going to be the NēXTpectations for how this equation can start to work again? We're going to have to swap out learn so that we can earn, instead to be learn so that we can earn, learn, and learn all the way through our career. So how exactly do we go about doing this our entire career? Well, that's what this edition of Extra, episode number 7, Help Wanted, is all about. Oh, and at the end, if you stay tuned, I'm going to launch you 2 new resources in Skētchmaps that'll help you get unstuck and get ahead. As you know, I'm all about setting NēXTpectations in life, finance, career, and business. And today what I want to light up is career. Eventually what that's going to be is a precursor to lighting up finance, because they're so inextricably tied together. As we're looking to get unstuck and get ahead in career, we're after learning so that we can earn. And when we want to get unstuck and get ahead in finance, we're going to be looking at strategies for how to keep, protect, save, invest, and transfer. However, until we're learning and earning enough, the financial ones don't really matter so much. So we're going to go ahead and put those away and talk about finance another time. Today, I want to light up career. If today your career feels a little too much like this, and you'd much rather it feel a lot more like that, then let's start thinking about things differently. I'm going to have you consider that you are like an asset. What I mean by you are like an asset is that you have additive financial impact. And you're also like a liability, which means you also have subtractive financial impact. Like, for example, you need to eat, you need to live, you need to pay your bills, you need healthcare, all kinds of things that cost you to. I'm going to provide 2 lenses to help you look through when you think about yourself as an asset. And they are, you're an asset to yourself and you're like an asset to others. To inspect this, let's take the first one. You're like an asset to yourself. Let's say someone is 35 years old today, and perhaps that person makes $50,000 a year of income. And at 35, they might want to retire at that poster age of 65 years old, so they've got 30 years until their retirement. Now put that all together, and the financial impact for this person over the course of their career is $1.5 million. That's without any pay raises. They're just going to make $50,000 a year every year and never get a pay raise. Now, who wants that, right? So if you imagine some pay raises, let's use something like 3% annual pay raises. Why 3%? Because if you go online and you search for the average annual pay increase in America, it usually hovers right around that number. If this person were to get 3% pay raises every year for the course of 30 years, then it's not 1.5 million, it's 2.3 plus million dollars over the course of their career with 3% annual pay raises. Let me ask a question. If you were to do this math for yourself, do you have any other asset that is as valuable as you are an asset to yourself? I'm guessing for most people, no. Eventually, maybe later in your career, after you've amassed or accumulated enough savings for retirement, that equation may change. But for most of us in our career, we are our most valuable asset. Let's now switch from the lens of you're an asset to yourself to the lens of looking at how you might be an asset to others. And here I want to talk about our value. Not our value on the planet as human beings. When we're on the planet as human beings, we're all of equal value. I want to contrast that to what I call our market value. Markets are the place where almost everything gets determined in their value. If, for example, maybe you've heard of a farmer's market, and perhaps that's where you'd find out that the value of fruits and vegetables and other kinds of produce might get set. Or perhaps you've heard of the housing market, where the price of real estate and other kinds of housing can be established. Or perhaps you've heard of the stock market, where widely traded equities could be settled. But what's the market for our market value? Well, if, for example, you're an employee, then there's the job market. Every market has buyers and sellers. And in this case, the buyers and sellers in the job market are employers and employees. We're transacting for one thing, our work capabilities. And here, we are definitely not all equal. To further liken us to assets, there's even a name in business for the type of asset that our work capabilities are to others. They call it human capital. Now, to see that work capabilities in the job market really do determine our value to others, all you have to do is go to one of many websites like this one, salary.com. Project supervisor is what I've chosen here, and you can go into these websites and type in whatever position you want, whatever geography. This one happens to be the Los Angeles area, and you can see the median on the bell curve is about $68,000, a little shy of that. So where someone is on the bell curve will determine how much they might make in this particular bell curve. So this person's right in the middle at the average. However, they could be higher or they could be lower. What would be some of the things that could impact that? Well, if we go for expectations, looking back at how things have always been done, I find I can characterize most of what you could expect here to be in one of three places: market, merit, or tenure. Market is the market's going to change in the jobs. So if there's a shortage of certain types of work capabilities in the job market, the market rate might go up. You could check this website a year from now, and the same project supervisor in the same location with the same experience could in fact have a market rate that's higher or lower. The problem with actually trying to build out a plan around this is that you don't control the market. So not very easy for you to control. This next one, favorite of mine, is merit. What can you accomplish? What outcomes can you produce with your work capabilities compared to other project supervisors that might be similar? If you're really, really capable there and you're producing really great outcomes over and over and over again, well then in fact the merit might have you not be average, but it might have you now move up to maybe a top band on this bell curve. The third one, which also draws very heavily on how things have always been done in expectations, is tenure. How long has someone worked somewhere? Someone may work somewhere for a long time and they might expect to make more. Or maybe they even get compensated more. There's a famous quote, I believe it's JP Morgan, that says, someone can work somewhere for 10 years and have 10 years experience. Someone could work somewhere for 10 years and have 1 year experience repeated 10 times. And so you can imagine sometimes tenure is a benefit. Sometimes it just means you've been there a long time. So depending on how it is you've been able to use that, for the productive stuff, they sometimes call it institutional knowledge. The knowledge somebody has to navigate in an organization more capably because they've been there for a while. Other times it's entrenchment. People have just been hanging out, laying low, hiding out. And so in that case, maybe they don't creep up the bell curve. What happens if you'd like to earn more than is even on this bell curve? How do you break past the amount that's on your bell curve? Perhaps you want to make more than is the median. Maybe you want to make even higher than the highest amount that's on this bell curve. How would one do that? Well, let's say someone wanted to, make twice as much as the median. They couldn't do it on this particular bell curve. The cool thing is sites like this also have a whole little chart for a lot of these roles where you can actually see what the progress path looks like for people who want to break past the curve that's already there and move perhaps to another curve. In this case, there's our supervisor. And let's say they want to move up the ladder to maybe a project manager. And so in this case, you can throw up a different curve and all of a sudden you see, oh look, their median amount went up, but it didn't go up twice as much. So there we can come back and we can take a look at the ladder and maybe they can become project manager level 2. And boom, there's an average salary right there that's twice as much as when they were project supervisor. Click a little farther and you can actually get a little description of some of the roles that are required when somebody is typically a project manager 2 at this level of compensation. Do you have those capabilities? If so, you might be able to have a conversation with your employer and check to see how you're doing on this kind of compensation. If you're not doing well, perhaps you can have a conversation with other employers because there's a job market and the job market works in 2 directions, not 1 direction. So this gives you a sense of how those work capabilities are valued and you can check that on a lot of sites. How do you do this if you don't yet have the capabilities for the next curve up? Well, that's what I talked about at the beginning of the video. Remember the expectations for how things have always been done? You go and you get that degree and everything just turns out for a successful career? If in fact we need to inspect those expectations because what's happening is people are getting degrees and the outcomes aren't always so assured, then we're going to have to move to the other models. If you got that degree and you find that your career is coming up a little bit flat, think about it this way. I like to liken it to inflation. There's inflation you might have heard about, like say with financial capital, where the buying power of a dollar becomes less and less by roughly 2 or 3% each year. Then I also like to compare it to human capital, where if you're looking at the pressure that comes down on human capital as people become more and more capable in the marketplace across the world and things get more complex and people are continuing to learn and grow, well, guess what pressure that causes? That causes the same problem for you and what it is you know how to do if you're not continuing to grow. And that's because both financial capital and human capital can lose value over time without proper investment. So how do you avoid that inflationary effect on human capital, that competitive pressure that's going to continue to make it harder and harder to earn? Well, you don't just learn once. You don't just get that degree and be done, but you get that degree. That was great. But now you need to continue to learn and earn and learn and earn. And you're going to have to continue to do this over and over again. You don't have to do it if you don't want to get paid more. You can perhaps hope that in enough years, maybe you'll be able to keep that job. And if it's currently compensating you enough, that's fine. But if you're looking to get unstuck and get ahead and make big progress in your career, whether it's the headline you're hoping for or not, you'll probably find you're going to have to keep learning and earning and learning and earning all the way through your career. There are lots of markets, but in the job market, it's our work capabilities that determine our market value. And now you can see how we're like an asset to others. And like any marketplace, markets provide choices. And everywhere there's choice, you're going to find there's competition. And so you want to always keep being the better choice. I know that's a lot, and there's lots of different ways to learn. We can learn formally through college and get a degree. We can learn informally and teach ourselves. We can learn from mentors and other people who have already accomplished what it is we're trying to accomplish. Learn from people who are already holding the role on the curve you'd like to get compensated on. To also help you get unstuck and get ahead as you get started in this, I'm launching 2 Skētchmaps. A Skētchmap is just as it sounds. It's a map that I've sketched to help you get unstuck and get ahead in 2 key areas. The first one in 4 tiers of help, where I talk about the way I found it helpful to prioritize the value of different roles and people's capabilities when I'm auditioning people on my team. And then introductions that rock. Anybody who has a job interview, works in sales, makes introductions on a regular basis, or just hates the feeling of someone asking you, so what do you do? And you come up flat in your answer, you're going to really like this one too. If you go to my website, you'll see I normally do these sketch maps for business leaders and teams that have complex processes and strategies they need to work through. And usually that's what I use this for. I'm making these 2 available on my website for you to access to get unstuck and get ahead in your career. And you'll find not only the sketch map will be on there for you, but also a video tutorial showing you the strategy behind the making of the sketch map so you really understand how to utilize it to its maximum potential. Think of it like 2 master classes I'm making available to you just to get going in your path for your career. I'm posting the web link down below. If you sign up for my email, I'll email you out the information so you can get access to this at no charge. So try it on. Think of yourself as being like an asset to yourself and to others. And as you look to invest in your learning, hopefully you'll find these 2 master classes on the Skētchmap strategy sessions that I've included down below as a helpful contribution. Feel free to subscribe if you want to be alerted to more videos like this, or like and share to pass it on. In the meantime, set NēXTpectations. When you're looking to get unstuck or get ahead in your career, there's only one thing you need to remember. No, not me. That.